The opinions and recommendations expressed by Dan are his own and do not necessarily represent the opinions of this station or any of the show's sponsors.
Welcome back, Financial Issues. I'm Dan Celia. I mentioned the website. If you're a partner with me on our website, we do that conference call every month. Last month, we did a evening little mini kind of strategy session where I was explaining in as much detail as I could my strategy and how it works. And man, everybody loved it. And we had 400 calls on that, and everybody really loved it and stayed with us. We went about just over 2 hours, and it was a great time. We're going to do that again next month as well. So if you have any interest in supporting the ministry, that it would be great. Even if you don't use it, but you're thinking, I'd like to support the ministry, that would be great. We are doing the best we can, as it came up yesterday in the conference call. We're doing the best we can, trying to expand and trying to grow and to reach as many people as we possibly can. So many people need this, and we're doing the best we can, and I know with your help we'll continue to do that. So 866-300-9298. All the major indices are positive right now. The NASDAQ just turned negative slightly. So the Dow's up 10, S&P's up 1. So not any real big movement. We are getting a number out at 10 o'clock. What are we getting at 10 o'clock? I'll have to look. We're getting something that is coming out here during the break. I should know what it is, but too much stuff in my head here this morning. Let's go back to the phones. Let me go to Zach. Zach calling us from North Carolina. Hey, Zach.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Zach.
Well, I just had a question for you. I just recently opened up a trading account with my bank. Mm-hmm. I played the stock market a few years ago, and I bought a few shares in railroads, and I just wondered on in Norfolk and Southern Corp. I just wondered your take on that, doing that again. Is that a secure stock?
Well, it is a secure stock. It's going to be a little volatile. I've been really excited over the last 4 years because I've had railroads in the last 4 years on my buy list more than I have in the last 15 years. So the railroads have done very well. And that's primarily due to, the not all of them. Which one? The one that's not on my list, frankly. So I can't remember. Is there a CSX? Is that what it is, or something? I don't know. One of them's not doing well, but the rest of them are doing great. So the two national Canadian railroads that I've had on the list have been doing well. Norfolk Southern is not on my list. I track it a little bit because for almost 20 years, Norfolk Southern was pretty much a staple on my list. They dropped out of favor due to biblical reasons. But I'm sorry. Norfolk Southern it's the CSX. Norfolk Southern CSX was on my list for years and dropped out of favor from a biblical standpoint, and they haven't been doing so good. But Norfolk Southern has not been on my buy list in a long time, but there have been some others. Here's what I think about the railroads. First of all, the Keystone Pipeline, if it gets approved, one of the downsides to the Keystone Pipeline, it's probably going to hurt the railroads a little bit. Not dramatically, but those railroads that operate in the northern part of the country from middle of Oklahoma up are probably going to get hurt a little bit, because one of the reasons why the railroads have been doing so well is they're moving around a huge amount of oil. But I don't expect it to slow down in dramatic fashion. So I think the railroad companies are still going to do well for a number of years. I don't think they're going to have the same run that they've had for the last 3 years. But if you're a young guy, Zach, and you like the railroad industry, or if you work in the railroad industry and it's something you feel really comfortable about, then I would pick a couple of good, strong stocks and continue to buy them. And I think you're do well. They do tend to be volatile. And, I'll tell you something, Norfolk Southern was in the tank for 15 years. I mean, didn't do anything. I mean, for a long time. They tend to do that. They operate a little bit like a utility. So, but right now, I don't have any on my buy list right now, and I don't suspect I'm going to see any in the near future. But nevertheless, I like the transportation sector.
Well, this is my first time doing this. Really, I played with it. I look at a stock account as pretty much like a savings account.
Mm-hmm.
I just put money in there, and it has the potential to grow or lose a lot faster. I don't really buy, trade, sell. It's just more or less a savings account to me.
Well, if
it's doing something,
if it's a kind of an account that you don't need to dip into on like you would a savings account at the bank when you have an emergency or something, then I think it's fine. I always try to tell people there's a big difference between savings and investing. They in that savings should be totally liquid. So when your transmission blows up, you can grab some money and $2,000 to put a new transmission in or whatever it is. So you don't want to do that to a stock account because it's almost impossible to get ahead. Because when you do that in a stock account and when a need occurs that's immediate and you do that at the time the stock is down, you have no choice, you've got to take it, then it's very hard to get ahead doing that. But if it's a kind of an account that you're saying, I'm going to save some money for my retirement, I'm going to stick some money in there and I'm going to forget about it and I'm not going to worry about it, I don't care about it, I'm going to buy some stock and, a year later I'm going to buy a little more of that stock or whatever, then I think that's fine. So I think
that sounds good.
Okay.
I need to start thinking like that then.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you dip into it, for emergencies, it'll kill you. You'll never get, because if you're anything like me, that when you need it, it's when the market's going to be down, the stock's going to be down. And it just kills because you just never recover from that. It's a very difficult thing. So when you have to separate the two. So good stuff. Thanks, Zach. I appreciate it. Let me go to Peter in Oklahoma. Hey, Peter. Good morning, Peter.
Hi, Dan. How are you doing today?
Good.
Good. I called about a year ago, I think 8 months a year ago. I'm an Army captain, married to an Army captain. My wife is getting out. She's on her terminal leave right now, but she's going into the reserves, and so it's kind of changing up our financial picture. She's going to be a stay-at-home mom and volunteer at a crisis pregnancy center, so that's kind of going to be her focus.
Good for her.
We want to see about the allocation of our funds.
Okay.
So right now we both have Roth IRAs that we've been maxing out for me since 2007, and for her since a couple of years after that.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the Target 2040 and Target 2050 retirement funds.
Okay.
And then she's a great saver. She's been saving up a ton. We did a 15-year mortgage because when we deployed together, we were able to save up a whole bunch of money that we were able to put down 40% down payment on the house and keep our payment low.
Good for you.
Now, what we're thinking, this is just kind of we're talking, if we were to liquidate my IRA, which is at $47,000 right now, and we were to take her savings, we could pay off our mortgage in its entirety. And I know generally, I looked up a lot of stuff. In general, that's not a good idea because you want to have some assets. But we do have other assets. She would still have her IRA, and we have other savings, metals and things like that. And it's just the concept of being a 30-year-old. My wife's 28, and owning my house outright without a mortgage, and then starting over because I think at 30 I'm still pretty young. Starting over instead of doing your standard Roth IRA, another maybe going into a Timothy plan and being a little more biblically responsible, I like the idea of not being any debt. It's where I see in the Bible, I think, there are no verses I see where it says debt is good in any way, but I see plenty that say that having, that debt is not a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wanted to see your take on that.
Well, here's my thing, Peter. I think you're doing everything right, by the way, and I just commend you for that. Great stuff. Here's what I think. First of all, are you in for 20?
I think at this point I am. My promotion board to major meets this year. My last OER has been pretty solid, so I think I think at this point I'm saying this is going to be my career.
Okay, so you're going to have some pension. that some retirement when you finish, and obviously you're going to be still a very young man and be able to get out, stay into the workforce. So that'll be a good situation. I'm only saying this because, and I say that because I want all my listeners to understand that, because you are so young, I would not have a problem in doing this, because you sound like somebody, first of all, you got to pay the penalty, and you got to pay the tax. You said you did some reading. You've probably figured that out. It's a Roth IRA, so you just got to pay the penalty. But the only thing that I would say to you is you sound like somebody that's very committed. So the additional cash flow that you're picking up as a result of losing your mortgage payment, you're going to save. And with that mentality and that attitude, as young as you are, that savings is going to multiply very quickly, and it's going to be great for your retirement. And I think it's a fine idea. And certainly, someday when you're back working in the corporate world, or whatever you do when you get out, you certainly participate in your 401k if they still are in existence by then. But I think it's a good idea. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's fine as long as you're okay with that penalty.
And something that you said this morning that made me think, well, maybe this might be the right time to do it. Since I started my IRA in 2007, everything tanked in 2008, and it got chopped in half. I didn't actually lose that much, and since then, since it's been climbing, I think I'm probably at the point where my IRA is going to be pretty high. And you're talking about having some problems with this year and next year, and looking like maybe this climb that we've had is at its peak. So I was thinking this might be the time to do
well,
that.
I can't think of a better time. I mean, from that regard, you were in a 2040 fund, so you did pretty well last year, and you far outpaced the 10% penalty you're going to pay. So I don't think I don't think there's a better year. I mean, this would be the time to do it, no doubt about that. So I'm all for it. I think it's a good idea, and man, stay focused on that, because you guys are doing great, and sure appreciate it. And of course, I thank you for your service, brother. I sure appreciate that, and tell your wife I thank her for her service, and I thank her for the service she's going into. That may be more important than anything, both at the Teenage Pregnancy Center, the Crisis Center, and being a stay-at-home mom. Great stuff. I appreciate you. Thank you, Peter. Let me go to Michael. Michael, do we have time? Yeah, let me go to Michael in Texas. Go ahead, Michael.
Hi, Dan. How are you doing today?
I'm well.
Well, my question is, I'm a full-time college student, and it's regarding student loans. Right now in our economy, a lot of students are getting a lot of problems with student loan debt. It just hit $1 trillion and across the United States. And my question is, I try to do everything right. I went to my first 2 years at a community college, and I transferred to a public school. I've been living at home. I've been working. But there's still a fear of taking out loans, and so I'm going to have to, because regarding my financial situation, I really have no other choice regarding that. But my question is, right now, the way college students are, with a high unemployment rate when they graduate, even with a degree. You've had some friends that graduated from college, and they're still having a hard time finding a job. Even if they have a job, it's still not the job that they expected, but the degree that they required in college. So my question is, right now, with the way the economy is, and uncertainty about our nation's economy, I'm a conservative capitalist myself. Is it even worth getting a college degree? I'm sure it is, but should I just wait and get it later and work, or should I go ahead and get it done out of the way now with the way it is?
How far along are you? How far along are you, Michael, on your education?
Let's see. If I continue to go full time, I'll probably have about another year and a half, maybe 2 years.
Okay, so you've got 2 years under your belt, basically.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'll tell you, I have no problem with this. It's against one of those other things that not too many might tell you this, but I would have no problem with, I wouldn't want you to stop, but I would be okay with you headed in to an adult education program at your local college that you can go at night, for 4 hours a week, go at night. You can pay for that as you go, So continue working on your education. I don't want to see you drop that altogether because the discipline of it will pay off. And work full time. You're speaking to a guy that went 13 years at night. I've got two master's degrees and undergrad degrees and all that kind of good stuff. But I went alt night. I never had the opportunity to go full time. But I also don't have any debt and from it, never did. So that's what I would suggest. I think that would be a great plan. Keep going, go to work, and in 4 years, 3.5 years, you're going to have your college degree, and I think it's great. Folks, we'll be sure appreciate all of you being here. You're listening to Dan Celia, Financial Issues, helping you be a good steward. We'll be back.